So let's start off with Smartsheet's new document builder. So within your core Smartsheet, you now have the ability to generate PDFs, and this is called the document builder. It's available in the core Smartsheet program. And within this new feature, you are able to generate a customized document from the data within your Smartsheet. You are able to collect e-signatures within that customized document. So you could use it for contractual type data, where you create the contract, you get your customer to sign that contract, and then you can attach that signed contract to the row and email it to the relevant people. If you don't want to collect the e-signatures, that's fine, you don't have to, but you can store the customized content against the relevant row in your Smartsheet, the data thereof that was used to create the document. If you create multiple documents from the same row using the same template, you will get version control over those documents, which I will demonstrate as part of this webinar. And then once you've created the customized document, you are then able to email that document to a recipient. In order to use this document builder, you will need to have a fillable PDF template. So it's not just a PDF, free Adobe type PDF document. You need to have one that is editable and fillable. So in order for me to set up this demonstration, I've used a trial of Adobe Acrobat, but there are other fillable PDFs that you could use as well. And if you want to do the e-signature, then you might need a DocuSign license if you're wanting to use DocuSign to collect those e-signatures. So there's just a little bit there about what this document builder is, what it's designed to do, and what you would need in order to use it. So in order for me to demonstrate this feature, I've got a scenario that I've set up. So I just want to set the scene for you to so that you can understand the scenario that I'm using. So we are now all running a small stationery outlet. We have some regular customers that order very small amounts of stock from us. I'm just limiting it to like 2 or 3 lines an order, just so it doesn't, you're not going to be sat there watching me enter rows and rows and rows of data. But you would like a solution whereby you can generate invoices automatically and send them once you've processed the orders. You've already got an invoice template in Word that you're quite happy to use, and you do have access to an Adobe Acrobat fillable PDF creator. And you would like to use Smartsheet for this solution. So that's the scene that we've set, and this is the demo that we're going to do. So the way that I'm going to do the demonstration, I'm going to show you first, right up front, just how to put an order through, generate the invoice, and show how that email arrives. And then I will take you through step by step how we got to that solution. So I'll show you what Word template I used, how you uploaded the Word template into Acrobat, and then how you adjust it so that it creates a fillable form. And then we'll go on to Smartsheet. I'll just work you through the Smartsheet workspace that I've set up. So there's a customer sheet, an order sheet, and an invoice sheet. And I'll just show you the way that those have been created. And then we will delete the current mapping and remap the template to the row. And then I'll generate one document, show you how that works. I'll show you that you can generate multiple documents. We'll amend an order and regenerate the invoice to show you how the version control works. And then there are 2 different ways you can email that customized document out to your customer. And I'll just show you those 2. And then after I finish that, I'm going to hand over to James, who will take this solution just a little bit further if you wanted something that has a bit more functionality, which is a PDF creator that we have designed here at Smarter Business Solutions. So here we go. So I'm in Smartsheet here, and I've got a workspace called Tips and Tricks Workspace. Now, at the end of this webinar, I will be sending you all an evaluation form. And should you wish to have access to this Tips and Tricks Workspace so that you can come and take a copy of it and interrogate it and really look into how we've designed it, then you would just need to fill in the eval form and signify on that eval form that you would like to be shared to this workspace. So you do have the opportunity to come in and have a really good look around how these sheets have been set up. So first of all, we're just going to show you how it works, and then I'll take you through how to get to that working solution. So I'm in my orders table. I'm just going to put an order through. So let's say I'm customer 3 and we're a stationers. So I'd like to buy some paper. It comes, it's £15. You get a lot of paper for £15 and I want 5 boxes of paper. And I'm going to need some envelopes, A5 window envelopes, 8% because I didn't look what I was typing. We're going to have how many boxes of those? So we have 10 boxes of those, and that'll do. I'm just going to put through 2 items on this order. So I've said that I'm customer number 3. I'm putting through 2 items, and I'm just going to hit save. Okay, and then I'd like to generate an invoice for that. So I'm going onto my invoices table. These are the invoices that have already been generated. If I have a look at my filters there, invoice is ready to generate. And there you go, custom number 3, order number 16 is the one that I've just done with you. We can see that it's paper and envelopes with a % because I did a typo, but that's fine. You know that this is the one that I've just done. So to create this invoice, I go to the row menu, I choose generate documents. The document builder comes up. I've already mapped a template. So all I do is click the big generate button and ask for the document to be attached to the row. So it's just processing, and then I return to my sheet. Now, because I've got a filter on my sheet, these are ones ready to be generated. So I'll leave that for later in the demo. If I go to my invoices already generated, my order 16 is at the bottom there, and you can see the attached PDF is on that row. If I click on that, you'll be able to see here is the PDF that has just been created. It's my lovely invoice with my name and address for my customer. This is customer number 3, and the order was for some paper and some envelopes, 2 items on the order, and that was the total value. So all of these items have been picked up from the Smartsheet, pushed through to a template, and populated that template. In the background, I've got an automation running on this sheet, which is automatically emailing that PDF through to the customer. I'm just on my other screen. That email hasn't come through just yet, but it will come through in just a moment, and I can show you that the email is generated. Oh, here it is. So let me just pop that window, and I can bring that on. So an email can be generated. Hopefully you can see that extra window on the screen share, and within here, the attachment is added, and there it is. So I can click on that, and it has opened on a different window. So, but it was the invoices exactly the same as that one there. So I'm just going to whiz that back off the screen. Okay, so how did we get to that solution? Let's go through that. So I have my Word template. So we start off with a Word template. I'm just opening it up. Sorry, I thought that was open already. And from the Word template, you can see it was just an empty design with all the invoice number and all the headings in place. And this was the template that I wanted to be able to use within my Smartsheet. So at the moment it's in Word. We needed to pull that into a fillable PDF creator. So I have got Adobe Acrobat. So if I load up Adobe Acrobat, and if you wanted to do it from scratch, you would need to go to your tools area and say that you want to create a form, and then you select your file for the form to go into. So the file is on my desktop. There it is. So it just links to that file, and you click on Start. Okay, so it's opened up that template, and the Adobe Acrobat has has looked at the layout and has decided where the fillable fields could go and what it could call them, which is really quite intelligent of it. Now you could say, actually, I can only add one row of data through the Smartsheet Builder, so I don't need those fields. These are just header spaces, and I don't want that big one at the top. But you could add more fields to this if you wanted to. So I just clicked on the text box there, and I'm adding customer ID, could be added in there. And for any text box that you add to the fillable PDF, you need to set the properties of the boxes. So by setting the properties, you're just saying what font you want, you know, so size 10. I think everything on mine is, oh, Trebuchet, etc. So you add in any text boxes that you want, and you just check the properties of the ones that have automatically come across. Okay, so all of that's done in the background, and you end up with a template. So I'm just going to close that. I won't save that. And then through into your actual workspace. So here we've got a tips and tricks workspace. The way that the solution has been designed is that we've got customer data in a customer table. So I've got customer name, address, and contact details. You know, just use normal sample data. Every customer has a unique identifier of a customer ID, and I've got a copy of that data in a drop down on my order sheet. And I've just got a little cross check here saying how many invoices have each of these customers received, which is just a bit of additional functionality. Within this solution, anything that's grey is automatically generated through either a function using the column formulas there, or it might be a system generated code. This is an auto number type field. So all the white ones are the ones that we would want a user to enter data into. Everything else is automatically generated. So I've got a customers table, and I have an orders sheet. And within my orders sheet, if I take my filter off, you can see all of the orders building up. Now we just wanted a nice simple demonstration for you. So this is one way that you can create an order sheet. You don't have to create it this way, but we've got the customer ID, and that's going to pull in data about the customer. We've got an order ID, which is a unique ID for the order. And then we've got the line items, the item prices, and the quantity of each of those items. Now in this sheet, I also have, if I unhide my columns, a lot of summary data going on. So I've got some total, you know, these two multiply together to get a total, and then working out the VAT, and then the total including the VAT. I've got summary rows that are adding up all of the values in the children. I've got a little summary line here that is just joining, using the join function with a slash delimiter, all of the items that are within the order. Now the reason that I have done this is that Smartsheet's document builder can only take one row of data into the invoice. And if I wanted to quickly summarize all the line items, I would not have the opportunity of adding every single line to my invoice, because it only takes one row of data. So I've just summarized using the join function all of the items, just so that when the invoice comes through, there's a little summary of what was within that order. Okay, so we've got these nice hidden columns in here. And then when an order is generated, or when an order is used, the customer ID gets pulled through to the invoices sheet. So just have a quick look at the invoices sheet. Again, this is a lot of automation. We've got a lot of index match type functions in all of here. We've got, with the customer ID coming through from the orders sheet, it then looks up that customer ID with the customers table and pulls through all of the address details that we need for the invoice. It pulls through the email address that we need to send the invoice to. There's a system generated column here, just to say what date and time the invoice was created on. And then we've got some summary values from the orders table coming through, so that it fills in the correct areas within the invoice itself. If I just go to invoices ready to generate, I just had some pre-prepared. I just want to show how you do the mapping of your columns in the sheet to the template that you've just generated through your fillable PDF. So if I go to generate documents, I already have the mapping in place, but I'm going to delete that current mapping and I'm going to do a remap. So now the sheet doesn't know which document to use, so I'm going to create a document mapping, and this is this new feature. So we can map to a fillable PDF, which is what we're doing as part of this demonstration, or like I said in the intro, you could send out documents to sign with DocuSign should you have a DocuSign license there. So I'm just going to carry on with our PDF one, click on PDF, click next, tell it which template to use. So I've just clicked on that, it's on my desktop. And it's number 2. And you can see this is the template that we had in Adobe. And we've got all the placeholders for the fillable fields that we added or that were automatically added to that Word template. So all I do now is we take the column from your sheet and we map the sheet columns to the relevant boxes on the invoice. So the invoice number is going to map through to the invoice number. Order number is going to that box there. What we've got. And once you've mapped your column, you see this little blue dot shows that it's already now on your form. So customer ID goes at the top. I'm just going to quickly map these. So name, address. It's really useful if you set up your form fields with the same names or very similar names to your columns in your Smartsheet. Order date, order summary, number of line items, and then we just got our values, total, VAT, including VAT. I think that's everything. So once you've mapped all of your column details into the template, you just click on generate and attach to the row, because we have just mapped this with an actual invoice that we want to create. So I've mapped it to the row. I'm returning to my sheet. This time when I return to my sheet, I'm going to be asked if I want to save. Now this save is to save the mapping and the template used to the sheet so that further invoices can use the same mapping. So if I look at invoices already generated, we can see there the invoices that have just come through. Okay, lastly, I've got that automation working so that once you've generated a PDF, and I'll show you the automation is easier than just explaining it. So we can see here when a row has been added and an attachment is added or the attachment is changed, run the workflow and send the contact in the cell customer email and email them this message. And within the message, we are linking to the attachment column. And also within the automation, we're also recording the date that this invoice was sent to the customer within invoice sent on. So we've got a date column set up and we're using the recorded date workflow to say when that email was sent, which is quite useful. The only drawback with the email automation is that in order to attach the PDF to the email, you have to send a link to the sheet within the message, and that might not be ideal. If you haven't shared the sheet, then they would never, the recipient wouldn't be able to follow the link to the sheet. But sometimes people are like, oh, I don't really want to send a link to the sheet to a customer because I don't want them to be able to get in the back door and see any of this information. So an alternative way of sending your generated PDF, instead of the automation, you can disable the automation, but you could, once your document is attached to the row, you could use the three little dots next to the attachment and use the send file option. Type in the recipient's email address, and then you could put in a quick message. Or you could spell it correctly as well, and click on send. And that has sent in this particular invoice through to the row. Okay, so there you go. There's a little demonstration there on Smartsheet's document builder, how to build it and how to generate it. Oh, one thing I've not shown you, which I was going to show you, I'll go back to ready to generate. You don't have to do these one row at a time. If you wanted to generate 4 at a time, let's say, I can highlight all 4 rows. You can see all 4 rows are selected. Then if I go down to generate documents, when I go through to the document generator and get my generate button, it's saying attach to all 4 rows. So it's going to create 4 documents and attach each one to all 4 rows. So you can do a bulk mail merge if you like, rather than just one row at a time. So now if I return to the sheet, my filter for invoices ready to generate is now empty because they've all been done. And if I have a look at already generated, I've got a lot more in there. Okay, so you can send multiple items through at one time. And the last thing I want to show is a regeneration. So if I take order number 16, at the moment, order number 16 is for some paper and some envelopes with an incorrect spelling. I'm going to add another line item to that order and correct the spelling. It's order number, oh, I didn't want to do that. Pardon. Just need to go into that one. It's order number 16 that we want to change. So if I just whiz down here, here's order number 16. Let's just correct that typo and add a row in there. What should we have? Let's get some ink. It's really expensive, but I'm only going to get 1 pack of ink. There you go. So I've added a little bit of extra data to order number 16 and click on save. That has taken the totals to £575, £690. So remember £690 there. And if I go back to invoices and find order number 16, it's already been generated. Here it is. If I just go to the row menu and generate the document again, it's just doing the mail merge to that template a second time, returning to the sheet. So here we go, we're on row number 16. If I just click on, you can see here we've got the document there for the new version. I think it didn't show the version control because I must have used a different template before. I've only just mapped that template. So I will just quickly do that again. What can I change? Apologies. Oh, I've clicked on that button again as well. We love a demo. Right, let's just do it once more. Order number 16. Generate it. So you can see it's quite a quick process to do. Just redo that invoice, and hopefully this time you should be able to see a version number. There we go, they were that time. So we've got a version number on the invoice. I've used that template twice now on the same row. And if I click on the V2, the version 2, you can see version 1 and version 2 here. So if I open version 1, that was for the 690. And if I open version 2, it's now £1,000 because I put lots of paper in the second time. Okay, so you can see here that the document generator controls version history using a version marker there. So it's quite robust, it is quite in-depth, it's very streamlined, very easy to use. The mapping is straight, logical, and we like a logical mapping there. So there you go, Smartsheet's document builder. So what I'm going to do is, I know that you all know Smarter Business Processes, and what we do as consultants is we look at the offerings from Smartsheet, and then we look at ways that they can be enhanced. And James is going to demonstrate now how we've enhanced this document builder to fulfill some clients' requirements that may not be fulfilled by the out-of-the-box version. So I'm going to pass over to James.
Thanks, Debbie. So yes, as Debbie said, Smartsheet's solution, it works really well. I think it's quite quick to use, quite simple to use. The two things that we have found that some of our clients want that it doesn't give you is, firstly, it doesn't give you fully automated document creation. There is a manual element to the process, and whereas with our solution, you can make it completely fully automated. Also, it only takes data from one row of one sheet, whereas sometimes you need to create a PDF with tabulated data from perhaps more than one sheet, and our solution will allow you to do that. Also, another thing that we can do, given that we can do tabulated data in our solution, we've also included the ability to categorize data, so you can put certain types of data into certain tables and other data in other tables. Perhaps you want everything with a certain status in one table and everything with a different status in another one. You can do that with our solution. Also, similar to the Smartsheet solution, you can email your created PDF to whoever you need to. With our solution, Smartsheet is great, but as Debbie said, in order to do it automatically using the automation in Smartsheet, at the moment you can't get around having to send a link to the sheet as well, which can be awkward. You might not want to do that. Sometimes it might be confusing for the end client, depending on the scenario. So our solution will allow you to email the PDF to whoever you want to email it to, from whichever address you want to email it from. It will also attach it to the Smartsheet row as well. What you'll need is the Smarter PDF Creator, which is a software as a service type affair. So it's paid monthly or annually to us to use the software that runs on our servers. And other than that, all you need is the ability to create a template in Google Docs, which, I mean, obviously, as Debbie did, you can create it in Word and then convert it to Google Docs, just very easy, and obviously that's free. So what I'm going to show you, I'm going to demo the solution in a moment, and then I'll take a very brief look through the templates that are used to create the PDFs. These are Google Docs templates. Then I'll show you a quick look at the admin sheet that drives it all. The only time you have to leave Smartsheet to do this, to use the Smarter PDF Creator, is when you're creating your templates. You need to put those into Google Docs. Otherwise, everything's in Smartsheet. So the admin sheet is in Smartsheet as well, and it has all the mapping Debbie did in Adobe. That's done. That's effectively the same thing done, just in Smartsheet. And then we'll show you how the Smarter PDF Creator can create multiple lines in a table, and also how it can categorize that data. So I take you to the sheet. If you can see the invoices table here, this is the same table that Debbie had before. I'm going to do a couple of things to this table. Firstly, I'm going to disable the Smartsheet emailing, because we don't need that for this solution. And the second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move these two columns over, because these are used by the smarter PDF creator. They're not used by Smartsheet's solution. I'm going to move them over here so they're more handy for us. The first there is a template. We have 3 templates set up here. You can select for any order, and then it's just a button to create PDF. Now, as I said, we can make this completely automated. There doesn't need to be any sort of human interaction at all in order to create a PDF if you set your workflow up such. But obviously for this demo, we're going to do it manually. But this could, of course, just include a formula in it, and under the certain conditions of that formula, that box could be checked, and that would make generate a PDF. So let's just run this first. All you do is check the box and save the sheet, and wait a short while for it to go off and do it in the background. What it's going to do it's going to go off to the admin sheet, which I'll show you in a bit, find this template, and it's going to say, okay, what do I need to do to this template in order to create my order? It will copy the template in Google Docs. It will add all the data in all the placeholders and all the tabulated data, and then it will save it into this row in Smartsheet. It's done now. It should be in a moment now. We should get it. So what that's done is it's created this here. That was Debbie's version there, Smartsheet's version. And this is the so right. So very, very similar template to the one you had before, but this is slightly different. It's a Google Docs template, but it's very similar. And this is for order 1 that has 6 items in it, including buying a photocopy printer, so quite expensive. Okay, so that's one way of doing it. As I showed you, there's more than one template. I'll just very briefly show you. If I choose template 2, you'll see there's another template. While I'm doing that, I'll show you the templates themselves while that's cooking. That's the first template. That's the one we just saw. You can see here, all it is a document with some curly braces and some parameter names in here, and each of those gets replaced with the relevant mapped data that we'll see how that, very briefly, how that happens in the admin sheet. But that's all it is. It's just a standard kind of mail merge type of thing. The one I'm just creating now is very similar, but it's just a different color, just to show you how quick it is and easy to change that. So that should probably be done by now. Let's have a look. Let's just refresh that and have a look. In here, you can see there's version 2 now. Version 2 is this document. This one all out in green in it. So that's the same data, just with a different template. So you can have as many templates as you like. All these templates are controlled in, like I said, it's in a Smartsheet, an admin sheet that you use our solution. You can control this. We don't need to go through all of this. Effectively, just very briefly, that's the name of the template, and that's what you define it as in your sheet. That just simply links to the Google ID. There's the Google ID for this particular one up there, and that's that. So it links to the document, and each of those obviously are different documents. Here is where we get some setup. It tells you which sheets it's going to look at. It firstly will look at the invoices sheet, and it will also for some of its data on a row basis, and then it will look in the orders sheet for its tabulated data. So and then I won't go through all these, but that's just mapping those two things together to make sure it knows what data it should get. Over here, just to show you, that's where it puts it. That's you won't really need to worry about that, because it also gets put into the Smartsheet row as well, which is where it's more useful for you to find it. And over here, this really is just the mapping. It's exactly the same as with Adobe. It looks for anything called two curly braces, name, close 2 curly braces, and it puts in the contents of the customer name field from the invoices table. So customer name field from the invoices table. There you are, there's Joe Blogs. The contents of that column for that particular order gets put in and replaces that. And the same thing for all of these. That's all it does. It's just mapping to different items all the way along. The upshot is that we can create completely automatically. We can create multi-line PDFs and do it within a matter of seconds. One thing I want to show you is we have 3 templates here. Just want to show you the third one. The third one is just to give you an example to show you how we can categorize and split data up. We've decided here to split this into hardware and sundries. Hardware is printers and photocopiers in this case. So anything, if you haven't got any printers and photocopiers, they'll go in that list, and then everything else will go underneath. So if I go back to my invoices sheet and create another one, I'm going to think about it for a minute, and then what it's going to do is it's going to find it's actually what it's going to do, if you want to know, it's going to go and find the item type field. If it's got an item type of 1, it's going to go in this table. If it's got an item type of 2, it's going to go in this table. So it looks in the orders table for that. I think we've hidden order. There you go. There's the items type. So in this case, this is order 1. So this one and this one and this one and this one are all going to go in the second table. But these 2 items here, which is let's see if I go over here. That's the printer there and the photocopier. They're it's gone off screen now, but they're they're item type 1, and they will go in the top list. So let's have a look. So I'll start to keep talking for a bit so I can do it in the background. So we should have another new version. There's version 3 now of the document, and you can see that. So that if you've got complicated documents you need to create where you have tables of various data based on status or based on category, then this is quite a powerful solution for you. Just to show you, dear Joe Blogs, the 3 that I created there, they'll put in attached to emails. There you go. So obviously I didn't put too much effort into what goes here, but this is all completely customizable, of course. And it comes from I decided to use that email address of ours that doesn't actually exist, but you can send it from any address you like, or we can send it through a genuine SMTP or IMAP of your choice, so that it's a genuine email coming through your server.
Thank you very much, everybody, for attending.